What's up, everybody? Super stoked today on thank you guys for coming on the T8 Outdoors podcast. I really appreciate you everybody listening. If you guys are listening to this podcast, if you could like this video and hit the subscription button below, it'll drive more traffic and it'll get this video out and the podcast out into the world, and more people with disabilities will be able to hear the knowledge and wisdom that we have today from my buddy from the Great White North, Ira Edwards. How you doing?
Greetings. It's bluebird and sunny right now, but this morning it dumped 8 inches of snow in 3 hours. So
Oh man, if you guys don't know, Ira's a skier, outdoorsman, adventure, entrepreneur, all the aboves in the great state of Alaska. If Would you be able to enlighten the people on who you are, what you're about?
sure. I think I'm on my 17th or seventh career now. My longest job is I work for Roswell Ski Company and Toko Ski Wax. I've been doing that since the 90s. I've paid taxes on it since the 90s, so that's like a small amount of taxes, but it's my longest real job. And then my full-time job is I work as a scientist with the USDA doing soil and plant studies.
Well, that's awesome. I didn't
Um,
know that part.
but then my other careers, I've been a research biologist. I got sick of the poaching, got into law enforcement, wildlife enforcement. Since I work in the ski industry, moved over to recreation and law enforcement with state parks. That's a law enforcement job up here. Then I broke my back 15 years ago and moved into land management and policy work and decided I don't really like policy work as much because people don't like you if you change policy. You can't make everyone happy.
Yeah.
And then randomly met my boss and I got recruited to move over to the feds.
Awesome. I love it. Would you mind touching on how you got hurt or
Yeah. So in Alaska has all kinds of weather. The joke is if you don't like it, wait a day or wait 15 minutes, it'll change. Uh, but yeah, a couple times a year, there's usually some pretty bad windstorms in this valley. And there were a bunch of trees knocked across a ski trail right before Thanksgiving and snow machine trails as well. So I joke that I didn't get hurt skiing. I got hurt on a ski trail. But we were clearing off all the wind debris and the downed trees across the trails. And while I was getting ready to, I had a running chainsaw in my hand. The wind shifted and a leaning tree broke and fell on me. I almost got out of the way, but not quite. So with that, I got pile drived into the ground, hit me across the shoulder. It cracked my jaw, lost a couple molars, took my shoulder to the middle of my back, and then pile drive me straight down. I remember I didn't get knocked unconscious, but I felt my knees hit the ground. Then I was immediately face first in the snow. And so I have compression fractures from C2 to T4, and then I have spinal cord injury, I guess is the best way to put it, from T9 to L3, and I'm fused a vertebra above and below that. So you're a T8, I'm fused from T8 down to L4. And
They put Humpty Dumpty back together again, eh?
yeah, I mean, I was a biologist, so I'll do some geek speak here, but like I broke all the spinous and transverse processes off all those vertebra. So my spinal cord was not housed by the vertebra anymore, and I completely separated my back at T12 and L1 and broke L1 into five pieces. But I didn't cut my spinal cord, so I'm an incomplete injury because it was free floating in a bunch of bone shards. So they put Humpty Dumpty back together again. And yeah, so I'm an incomplete injury, but even though I'm a T9 paraplegic, I'm essentially a T12.
Yeah, that's what happened to me too on my T8. Nothing got fused, but I had a bone get pushed into the spinal cord and it bruised the spinal cord. And when I first got hurt, I was like, "Oh, bruises heal. No worries. Yeah, I'm good to
I had
go."
lots of sharp things stab my spinal cord all over the place.
Golly,
Um,
man.
and I'm sure stretching it into a zigzag pattern didn't help either. Yeah, so I spent a month in ICU and then a few days in regular care and then moved down to Craig Hospital. I probably shouldn't have gone there that quick. But I then spent a month not doing any rehab at Craig Hospital. And then I spent 3 months doing rehab there. So I was in the hospital for just over 5 months. That's a long time.
I'm a Craig alumni as well.
Yeah, I knew people that had gone there before I got hurt. I didn't know much about being paralyzed, but I did a little research, and Craig was definitely the place to go if you want to get outside for a lot of athletic injuries and sports rehab. They have a good outdoor rec program. I wasn't, and I also had super bad blood clots because of all my stuff.
Right.
So I was not allowed to go like scuba diving or go shoot guns because they were worried I was on crazy blood thinners. But I had already been hunting and fishing and scuba diving before I got hurt. So I kind of knew I would somehow figure that out again. Didn't know exactly how, but somehow.
Yeah, yeah. Once it's in your blood, it's in your blood, and we make a way.
Yeah, and I grew up here in Alaska, so I've lived in Sweden. I've traveled all over the world for skiing and fishing and scuba diving. And sometimes sightseeing, but mostly for sporting events. But yeah, Alaska's definitely been home, so I had a good support network up here.
Yeah, that's extremely clutch. The support systems. Being in Alaska, obviously you how do you deal with snow being in a wheelchair? How does it affect you and how do you work around that?
I can plow my way through about 12 inches of snow. Beyond 12 inches, it gets difficult. I have regular snowplow service, which helps at my house. I also haven't used skinny tires, and I've been in a wheelchair for 15 years. It's been at least 12 years since last time I used skinny tires. So I use mountain bike tires full time year round.
15, what are you, 2009?
2010 is when I got hurt.
Okay, I got hurt August 2009.
Yeah, so you know, and then I wear just waterproof boots a lot of the time. Uh, and if it's, I mean, I wear shoes most of the time now. I had really bad leg swelling for a lot of years. I had fat shoes, but now I got regular shoes again.
That
Uh,
works.
but yeah, no, snow is that. I people always ask me if I use studs on my wheelchair, and I live in a house with solid surface floors, and I work in an office with solid floors, so that would ruin everything. But on the flip side, I don't slip and fall on the ice like normal people do.
Yeah, I have people holding on to me when we're walking on ice. That's funny. Right on, man. So in Alaska, snow are from looking at your Instagram and following you for a little while, you're pretty into skiing. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, skiing is probably my number one passion in life. I started out cross country skiing and then moved into backcountry alpine, like climbing up in the mountains to ski down, because that helped me climb mountains. I had mountaineering gear. I used to do a lot of climbing. And then, I've been in a couple of ski movies and I show ski movies. And do a lot of fundraising for avalanche safety up here. But skiing, since I got hurt, has been also pretty awesome. I cross country ski a lot. I'm 6'5" and over 250 pounds, so I'm not a small guy. I'm like gorilla sized. So for cross country skiing, it's all double pulling. And not all my muscles work, but enough of them do. I can use my abs a little bit and big shoulders. I went from a size large t-shirt. I was 250 pounds when I got hurt. So I've gained a couple pounds since then, but I went from a size large t-shirt to a double X. I was just tall and thin. I was a mountain runner, cross-country skier, athlete type of guy. I mean, I ran 30 marathons before I got hurt at 6'5"
Wow.
and 250 pounds. So I was Clydesdale category, what they call
Yeah.
it. They call it Clydesdale category for bike racing. Yeah, so I love to ski. Alpine skiing is not the same as it used to be. I never really used to ride chairlifts, but it's a little harder to hike up mountains. So now
Just a little.
I have a snow machine. So I joke that my new climbing skins for going in the backcountry, I have 850 cc's and 3-inch paddles.
Yeah, right.
And it's got two seats, so I can haul my sit ski up there and have someone else drive it down. I am not willing to let my snow machine ride itself down. They call it ghost riding.
I've seen that.
I've seen them die that way, and I can't really just hike out of the woods. And then I ride at the resort now. I never used to. We have a really awesome adaptive center here in South Central Alaska in Girdwood at Alyeska Resort. And I've skied a lot of other adaptive places around the country, but this is pretty amazing here because you can actually ski on and off the snow right from the back door. Other places like Winter Park is probably the most popular adaptive center, and it was one of the first adaptive centers. You got to go 200 yards through an underground tunnel carrying your gear just to get to snow. Uh, and
Brutal.
which it works, it works just fine, but it's
Yeah,
like
you figure it
not
out.
convenient. Park City has got stuff, Vail has got stuff, but and there's other ski areas up here, but it's a bit of effort to do it. Challenge Alaska, you sit in a nice warm cabin on carpet, get it so you don't slip and slide while you're getting into your stuff, and you slide yourself out the door and you're right onto snow right out the door. So and then another 5 or 10 pushes and you're onto the slope.
I
So
love
it's
it.
pretty sweet. And then I do ski instruction a little bit. I help out people that need help learning to ski. But I mean I coach little kids skiing too. So that's my way of giving back. I mean I've been coaching for 30 years now. So
Yeah, so that's cool. I know when I first moved out of high school, I moved straight to Telluride, Colorado, and they have a killer adaptive skiing program out there as well. There's a lot more ski resorts are picking up on it and get able to, starting programs to get people out there skiing. I love it.
yeah, no, there's a lot of opportunity. I mean, it's not just physically disabled like um, that. There's a lot of other special needs people out there that need help. So
Right.
all that requires someone with some education, some training to help you have the best time out there. At my place, they have over 1,500 people a year go through the program. And I think of that, there are less than 10 of us in sit skis. So a
Nice.
couple of amputees use sit skis, some military vets, and there's like 4 of us that have paralysis. And then Andrew Kirka, who you mentioned, he lives just up the road from me, an Olympic, Paralympic gold medalist. He skis out of there sometimes when he's home. So, uh, yeah, so it takes all kinds of abilities for sure.
That's cool. That's cool. I love it. If you guys got to check out the podcast I did with Andrew Kirk. We dive into his Olympic skiing. He's a Paralympic downhill racer. Pretty good podcast. But Ira, that sounds like a lot of fun. I've been skiing a couple times. I don't know what's up with me, man. My right turns, I would be butter. I'd go right turns, no problem. But my left turns, I would just crash and crash and crash. I go all day to the point where my left shoulder was absolutely smoked trying to push myself up. And I have no idea. I think maybe the right side of my brain's a little off because I don't know what was going on, but just
On my
bugging.
paralysis, I'm hemispherically different.
Yeah.
So one side of my core works better than the other. So left turns are harder for me.
Yeah, that's what they were
Um,
telling me too. Sorry, go
And
ahead.
like if I do planks for stretching and for strength,
Mhm.
I can do a side plank on my right side and hold myself up with my abs. My left side, I can't get my hips off the ground, so I just use it for stretching on that side.
How did you overcome that deficiency and be able to do your left turns?
I've just learned different ways. I have some hip flexor that can work a little bit, and I rotate my shoulders more to make it work that side. Instead of adjusting my hips, I can rotate my shoulders and make it happen. But I have to force the left turns. The right turns are easy.
Got it. Yeah.
But I avoid children and trees on a regular basis, so it works out good.
Yeah, right. Yeah. The children can heal those trees.
Man,
They're
they
unforgiving.
dart out of the woods like there's gremlins and stuff.
Yeah, right. Little trolls, little critters down there. That's awesome. What what other passions do you have outside of skiing and work and stuff like that? I know what attracted me first to your account, um,
I got a lot of hunting and fishing going on.
hunting and fishing. That's T8 Outdoors. That's why we're here. That's how so I'm on your Instagram right now. Are you always float? Do you float hunt most of the time, or
Uh,
how are you getting out into the woods?
I do not float hunt. Float hunting is not very possible or convenient from a wheelchair. Most of the
Okay.
rivers here have really tall banks, like 10 to 12 feet up.
Okay.
So you one can't see much float hunting. There are places where I've seen moose on the side of the shore for sure.
Right.
But generally, when I used to do float hunts, and I got a whitewater raft that I use, you would go to a place that has big meadows and then pull up the rafting glass and then keep moving on. There are places for sure where there's nice gravel bars and you'll see the moose eating on the willows or the caribou eating on the willows and or the lichen near the gravel bars. But float hunting on its own, not being able to climb up the banks very easy. And I can scoot my ass up a lot of stuff, but that's a lot of work to do.
Right.
Is less successful. So I have gone out with friends on their side by sides and ATVs. And then 5 years ago, there's a group called the Chive. They're in Austin, Texas. It's a website. They have social media accounts. They have interesting articles and they have really good cookies. If you're a guy and you like girls, they have reader submissions of girls in bikinis. If you're a girl and you like guys, they have reader submissions of guys in bikinis, speedos and whatnot. So they kind of know what people tend to like. But they also have a nonprofit that helps out veterans and first responders, and they mostly buy wheelchair vans for people. And I drive a truck in Alaska, and I'm not going to drive a wheelchair van because it won't let
Right.
me do what I want to do. So they help me get a side by side, and that's helped me get myself out and also be able to take a lot of other people out.
I love it. That's amazing. So on you're in Alaska, you're hunting moose, you're hunting caribou. I'm sure you got some stories.
I've never shot. I know you do archery. I've shot caribou with a bow. I've shot several black-tailed deer with a bow. I've never shot a moose with a bow, even though I've been within 30 yards and shot moose at point blank range with a rifle. Uh, the places I go, a bow is inconvenient, and I shot bow because legally you're required to in some areas. There are definitely like we have a big oil pipeline up here, and there's a 5 mile corridor on both sides where it's non-motorized and no firearms because they don't want anyone shooting this pipeline.
Yeah.
And people have shot it on purpose, so it leaks a lot of oil. Like a 30-06 punctured it at point blank range like 12, 15 years ago, and it was at the bottom of a hill, so the hydraulic pressure coming down, even though they shut off the pumps, they had to drain I think 600 meters of oil, which was tens of thousands of gallons.
Yeah.
'Cause it's a 40-inch pipe. So
Wow.
uh, and
I always
they
wondered about that.
yeah they it started leaking right away when the guy shot it, but and it's like I think 3-inch steel, and then it's got another several inches of insulation around the outside. So he hit it pretty good to puncture it, but it sprang a leak, and then they had to weld it and patch it, and it was a big disaster. But everyone knew it was non-motorized, no firearms. So I mostly use firearms, and I shot traditional. I didn't shoot compound. So shooting traditional from my bow I have a 31.5-inch draw length, which is long for anyone.
Yeah, yeah, that's long
And so
arms
I
there,
would hit,
bud.
if I wasn't shooting uphill, I'd hit my strings on my wheels, which
Right.
I literally can't even shoot flat on a field. I'd hit my strings. So yeah, so I pretty much do archery only. And since I drive a wheeler, you can't really sneak up on animals with a crossbow.
No, no. Yeah, it's I've I've talked to other stories with other people. If I have an opportunity, if I'm hunting over like a water source or like a small food area to where it's convenient for a bow and if possible for a bow, yeah, I'll take the bow out. But majority of my hunts, just like you said, because in the wheelchair and stuff like that, and you can reach out and touch something, are with rifle and I would it makes a ton of sense too because up in Alaska, you're dealing with the different styles of terrain, and you got the I'm drawing a blank here. The squishy ground. What's it called?
Tundra.
Tundra. There you go. Yeah, yeah. You got to deal with the tundra, and then you get with your side by sides on. I'm guessing just dirt and stuff like that. But
Uh, yeah, I got a six wheeler. That thing goes everywhere.
nice. Is that considered an Argo or?
No, it's a Can-Am. So it's I sent you a couple pictures. But it's basically got an 1,800 pound bed capacity. I got a 6 ton winch on it. It's 51 inches wide, so it'll almost fit on a narrow trail. It'll fit on most ATV trails. So it's a 3/4 ton truck that fits on an ATV trail. And it's got six-wheel drive, so it doesn't get stuck very easy.
Yeah, that thing's pretty sick, man. Geez Louise. Yeah,
Um,
how far out do you get? Do you usually go out and come back, or do you go out and camp and
we go out and camp a lot. I sent you a video on a caribou hunt, and that one we had a friend's cabin to stay at, but we
Mhm.
were 39 miles from the cabin on a my old mining trail. Um, so that's a ways out there before we started to see animals. So we're almost 40 miles away to where you start to see animals. And like not sure how much wildlife you've seen when you were in Alaska, but Alaska is definitely not as productive as it is in the States. You guys have longer seasons. There are deer everywhere. There are not moose everywhere. There are not caribou everywhere.
All right.
I mean, there can be big groups of them at certain times of the year, but it is a lot of land for less animals because it doesn't grow as much. They just need more land in order to survive. Like a food plot for some of these farms and stuff, they might keep plant a food plot to keep the deer off their corn, and that doesn't take very much. But you can get like a couple deer an acre down there, and we have moose every like 2 to 300 acres and that's considered high density if you have an animal every 2 to 300 acres.
Yeah. I, for the readers, I go out to Alaska for a week or for 8 days the last week of July every year just to go fishing and adventuring with my buddy Andrew Kirka, and it's insane how big Alaska is. If you want to feel small, you go out to Alaska. There's more what was the stat? There's more people who own a plane than own a car. It was something like ridiculous. I was
We
like,
have the largest float plane and the largest small plane airport in the world. I think there are actually more small planes, private planes in Alaska than any other state, not just per capita, but I think actual numbers. And we're
right.
the third smallest state. There's Rhode Island and Wyoming have less people than us. But we're also a full 20% of the United States of America. So if you took away Alaska and we made our own country, we're like more than 2/3 the size of the lower 48. But we're a
Massive.
full 20% of the US of A. So it's a lot. Where I sent the caribou picture or video,
Uh-huh.
that was a 12-hour drive to get to the cabin, and we're not even it's almost the same parallel. So we didn't go up in latitude much at all. And we didn't hit Canada. The place I go moose hunting is about 9 hours north of me.
Hmm.
So it's a lot. I mean, there are chances that animals closer, but there's also 100,000 people around where I live. So a lot
Right.
of, and I myself, when it's hunting season, I have a gun in my truck because I have passed up legal animals on the side of the road, and uh, you are not allowed to shoot from the road, but you got to get off the road to shoot. But I've not had a firearm when there was a legal animal right next to me.
Even I know you sent me a paragraph giving me a little bit of wisdom on shooting from vehicles and stuff like that with a disability, because I know like a lot of states down here you'll be able to drive right up to animals and shoot them. It's not like that in Alaska.
Yes and no. So you can get a special permit with a qualifying disability. And in Alaska, that qualifying disability means you are 70% physically disabled. It does not count into military disability because a lot of those, and no offense to disabled vets, but the military rating system is completely different than the American Medical Association because I've done Boston Marathon on foot and I've done it on my hand cycle, and there are guys that are 100% military disability that ran under 3 hours on Boston Marathon. They have no physical disability. So you have to be 70% physically disabled in order to get a qualifying permit to do this in Alaska. And then you're not allowed to shoot on, from, or across the constructed surface of any road. So I know down in the States, Forest Service roads don't count. You can shoot on Forest Service roads if you have a disability, but you can't do that in Alaska. You have to be off of any road. And if it's a private road, that's still considered a road. So,
So
so
you
you
have to
basically
get
you should
out
be,
of your car.
no, or you just drive into the ditch and drive into the bushes, which
Yeah,
means it's very difficult to do from a highway vehicle.
yeah, I was gonna
And
say.
then you're allowed to shoot from a ATV or a snow machine if you have the motor turned off and forward motion is stopped. And there's a couple places you can shoot from a boat for black bears if your motor's off and your forward motion is stopped. But normal people like walkers and stand-up people cannot do that. They have to be out of the vehicle and off the road.
God. So let's say, so when I go fishing with Kirka, we usually go out of the Prince Edward Sound.
Prince
Um,
William, yeah.
Prince William, yeah, forgive me. We go out there and he'll be like, oh, this island right here, ton of deer. Oh, this island right here, ton of bear. And we'll be driving down, and I'll have the binos up and you can see black bears cruising the shores. Is it illegal to, get within shooting range on a boat and then shoot a bear on the shore from the boat?
So, so that specific area, Prince William Sound, is where you're allowed to shoot black bears from a boat if your forward motion is stopped and the engine is off. And that's with a disability and with this permit.
Cool.
Um, Other parts of Alaska, you're not allowed to. But that area has a lot of black bears. So I'm going to work on doing that next year with some buddies. Um, and that's a relatively new thing. But Alaska, I know you've mentioned a lot of other on your other podcasts. Alaska is a little bit different, as we're currently the only state without an opportunity for people with disabilities.
Mm,
They have a moose hunt that's run by Safari Club International that's for people with a Purple Heart and 100% physical disability from
okay.
again, the military rating is different than normal rating, so their 100% is a little bit different. But the people with 100% disability rating and a Purple Heart is a very limited group of people.
Right.
So but there's no opportunities in Alaska currently for the general disabled public. So I passed a bill through the legislature last year and working on getting permission from one of the cities to be able to do it in one of their parks because there's lots of moose at the urban park and they cause lots of accidents because uh, I'm sure you've been around bears or even deer, but any mamas like to protect their babies.
Oh
And
yeah, definitely.
a mama moose is like 800, 900 pounds. And every year there's 12 to 13 ambulance rides from people getting stopped by moose on bike trails because they come around a corner and there's a baby. So,
They, sorry, go
uh,
ahead.
yeah, so I'm working on with the city and hopefully allowing that to happen. But I got the state law changed so we can actually allow hunts with this for people with disabilities.
And would that be archery crossbow only, or how would
It
how's that
is
looking?
going to be uh, shotgun or archery. I was definitely against making it archery, and the State Board of Game um, changed it from black powder to archery, which was against everyone's wishes, including the Alaska Bowhunters Association because 30 to 40 years ago they had this is before IBP was around. So you
Mm-hmm.
never had certifications. So they had
Right.
an archery hunt and there were pictures on TV when I was a kid of moose walking around with arrows in their asses and it was just not very good PR
Ah.
and people remember that stuff.
Hmm.
So the Bow Hunters Association is not in favor of urban archery hunting in this
Makes
area
complete
because
sense.
it has bad PR. But anyway, a guy who on the board of game who is not a hunter made it archery and changed it from black powder to archery. So it is what it is. But mostly my goal is to make it a shotgun with slugs because it's right near an airport. It's low velocity. I mean, they can go that far, but it's less chance of anything. And yeah, so it'll be a cow hunt, not a bull, because bulls are popular for photography and cows are the ones that stomp people. So
Right. That was, forgive me if I'm wrong or if I'm just completely making this up, but I think I could have swore I heard something that, and there are probably more people get killed by moose in Alaska than they do bears.
uh, injured by moose, I would say. I wouldn't
Okay.
say. Only one person that I know of in the 45 years I've been here has been killed. Bears kill someone every couple of years, and there's a lot of pretty serious bear attacks every year. But people don't die very regularly. I mean, usually there's someone with them, or someone has a gun, or
Right.
something. Because the bear attacks happen near fishing streams or near hunting areas. So
Makes
people
sense.
generally carry a gun, a pistol, or something when they're fishing. I mean, a common practice up here. You carry a sidearm. Even if you're archer hunting, most guys carry a sidearm. Um, and I keep mine in a chest holster right here. So.
Yeah, I have the Invader Concepts chest holster, and then I got a 10 millimeter Glock that I go with. I was also reading a statistic that was saying more people have in self-defense been able to save themselves with a 9 millimeter compared to heavier caliber pistols when it comes to bear attacks. Do you know anything about that?
There have been moose and bears shot with 9 mil, and what it does is get them pissed off. None have been killed yet. They had a guy unload on a moose 5 years ago at 19 shots through the moose, and it was still, yeah, it didn't do anything.
Still
Um,
pissed.
I would, yeah, the higher caliber bullets is the more power you have, the better. I work for the federal government, and I'm also a firearms instructor for us, and we work out in the field. In order to carry a pistol, it has to be 200 grain bullet, 1,000 feet per second, which a 9 mil cannot do that. And I'm just
Really?
saying, even a 45 ACP can't do that.
Right.
So 10 mil can, if it's an auto, or there's a lot of revolvers. I converted my 45 to what's called a 460 Roland. It shoots 300 grain slugs at 1,800 feet per second. So it does pretty well. Um, but
Ira,
I
you
was
are an interesting person, man. I want to be your friend.
Yeah, I build firearms as well. I'm working on getting my FFL so I can do that professionally, but I've done it for friends for a lot of years.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I also have the Invader Concept chest holster for a 357 snub nose. Um I'm that that packs a punch, but I'm not very accurate with it unless I got the hammer cocked before I shoot. The hammer's not cocked and I shoot, I'm flinging bullets all over the place. But once that hammer's cocked, I'm pretty dead nuts. But you know, like if someone was charging me, I wouldn't be like, hold on, bear or moose, I'm gonna, you know, wait till I
I
cock my pistol.
I sold all my revolvers. I've owned a lot of firearms over the years, and I've had a lot of boating accidents where they all went overboard in a really bad storm, so they don't
Oh
tip
yeah,
over.
shit, I had one of those too.
Uh, but no, I've switched entirely to auto pistols, and auto pistols get a bad rap in the self-defense and wildlife protection game, but that's
Full auto
because
or semi-auto?
semi-auto. It's called
Oh,
an
okay.
automatic
Yeah,
pistol.
I gotcha, I gotcha. Sorry.
Like the 45 ACP is a automatic Colt pistol.
Okay.
What ACP stands for, and 10 mil is 10 mil auto. It just an auto feed, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Okay.
But it's a semi-automatic weapon unless you have a special license to have fully auto. Uh, that is a factor of training, and I will be honest that most people that own firearms do not train enough, and most people that own pistols for personal protection definitely do not train enough.
I
So
definitely
that
don't
is
train enough with that firearm. I'll be
auto
completely
pistols
honest.
can jam regularly or can malfunction regularly if they're not held correctly and you are not prepared to shoot them the way they are. So that is the number one common issue. Whereas a revolver will fire no matter what. But the problem with a revolver is every shot, if you keep firing in series, it goes higher and higher and higher because a revolver goes over your head and auto pistol will stay on target.
Mm.
Also, with my, I practice with my 10 mil. I didn't do any timing with my 45 or the 460 Roland, but the 10 mil I was shooting 220 grain slugs, and it's 15 plus one, so I could shoot 31 rounds downrange on target at 20 meters faster than I could shoot 6 rounds out of my 454 and reload without firing another 6 rounds. So that's a lot more lead, a lot more power in an auto pistol, and it's on target. If I shoot 6 rounds rapid fire out of a heavy caliber revolver, your point of aim goes up.
So, so I
Hopefully, you
wanna,
don't need 30 rounds, but you know.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I was wondering if you've got a drum mag on there, but
Oh, you guys
so
can only have 10 rounds in California. Sorry.
yeah, don't get me started.
I was law enforcement, so I still have my original service pistols. So,
That's you've had a long, interesting life, my friend. So when I'm out in Alaska and I'm driving around and we're out on dirt roads and I'm carrying what so earlier you had said there's some parameters for that to be legal, or is it just open carry is legal out in Alaska? How's this work?
open and concealed carry are illegal in Alaska. You cannot carry in schools, hospitals, federal buildings, or bars.
Right.
Uh, you can do in bars if you're law enforcement, but you're not allowed to carry if you're around alcohol.
Right.
But that's poorly advised anyway. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, we you can get a concealed carry permit and it is compatible, I think, with like 38 other states. There's not a reciprocal motion in every state yet, but it's pretty far. Like if my CCW I can use in California, which is I think California is one of the stricter places. I can't carry my larger magazines in California, but I do anyway. So.
Shh.
And I noticed you
I
said
didn't
you
hear
had the
that.
Invader Concepts holster. I use the Gunfighter's Kenai holster.
Okay, I've seen
And I
that
don't
as
know
well.
how good your shoulders are, but the Invader Concepts, it has to come almost straight up at it's like a 45-degree angle. The
Yeah.
Gunfighter comes out like at an angle where you can actually use your shoulder. If you try to zip up your zipper, the Gunfighter or the Invader Concepts is like zipping up a zipper. You have to pull up. And if you have to
Right.
do that at high stress or high at heavy load, that hurts your shoulder.
Got it. Makes complete
So I
sense.
I tried that and I switched to the Gunfighter's Kenai holster because it's about a 30-degree angle instead of a 45-degree angle. But
Makes complete
the
sense.
Kenai holster came out first. Gunfighters copied it, but Gunfighters has got Ted Nugent behind him. So I mean, hey,
Hey, there you go, right?
or no,
Um,
Invader Concepts has Ted Nugent. So
yeah, yeah, I got what you meant. So you're also hunting moose and caribou, correct?
yeah, the caribou seasons are a little challenging because they don't want to shoot too many, so they don't open the season till there's less near the road. A couple of years ago, they had 900 shot from the parking lot opening day.
Was that
That,
at 9 Mile or
that was on out of Fairbanks, but that was yeah, literally their quota was 800 and they shot 900. So they went 100 over the quota, and it's a really big area. So that was one of the three areas. So they had to reduce the quota on an emergency from the other areas because it's the same herd. So
right?
now they don't open it until the caribou move away from the road. And this last year they didn't move away from the road, so they didn't open it at all. Uh,
Mm,
and then the other area where I go had a
they're
huge fire,
adapting.
so it diverted all the caribou to Canada, so they don't go through there anymore.
Oh
In
man,
the last th 4 seasons, there's been 6 caribou shot in 4 seasons. And that's
what?
probably like ones that happen to just live there all the time and not ones migrating through.
And is that including like Brook Range, the Brooks Range caribou too, or
No,
are we
there
just
are
talking
several
9 Mile
different
herd?
herds. This is the 40-mile herd.
40,
It
40
goes,
mile.
it,
Why
go-
do I call it 9 Mile?
It
Or
goes from near Fairbanks along the Canadian border. It lives half its year in Canada.
right,
But there's a lot of different herds. If you go up north of the Yukon River, you can hunt along that's the Hull Road, and that's the oil pipeline where you can't use firearms. And there aren't any real roads to get off the way, so I can get a permit to drive in the non-motorized area, but I can't shoot in the non-motorized area. So it's challenging to hunt that. People I know, and I have some friends in wheelchairs that have done it, and then I'm thinking of doing it someday. Is you get someone with an airboat to drive you up some of these rivers, and then you can raft down. And the caribou hunting you can do from a raft, but again, the river banks are still kind of tall, so it's not a solo hunt. You got to get someone to be able to drag it back for you.
yeah.
Whereas the moose hunting and the caribou hunting I do from a wheeler, I'm not 100% self-sufficient, but I do most of the work. I still need someone else to help out sometimes, but yeah, I'm able to drive around, unload the wheelchair, butcher animals, and just need help picking up a 200-pound chunk of meat to put it in the back.
Right. Are
Most people
you?
need help with picking up a 200-pound chunk of meat.
Yeah, just common sense on that one. So on, are you driving? Let's say you shoot a caribou, it passes, and are you driving your wheeler up to the caribou, or you're just driving as far as you can, and then getting out on the ground and then just scooting your butt over to the animal, or then you get in your wheel, or it just depends on the situation.
It completely depends on the situation. I know in some areas, if they die in a swampy area, we try to drag them to dry ground.
Right.
So you got friends that hook them up with their waders or their knee boots, and just we tie a rope around the head and just drag it. And
Right.
people in your part of the world drag deer on sleds. Well, our deer are a lot bigger, and
Yeah. Huge.
but and a big. So let's just say a big mule deer is still smaller than a caribou. A big caribou is barely smaller than a Rocky Mountain elk. And
Yeah.
then
Caribou.
a Rocky Mountain elk is not as big as a Roosevelt elk, and we got Roosevelt elk up here. Those are almost as big as a moose, and then a moose is the biggest thing we got. And but yeah, I've dragged things, like 50 yards sometimes, but usually you drive right up to it and do it. And then I got a crane now that I can lift up the animal and lift up the hindquarters to uh, butchering it when something's hanging is way easier than doing it on the ground
Oh yeah.
because
100%.
the blood and the guts fall out. So if
100%.
we can find a winch in a tree, we'll haul it, we'll drag it over to a tree and put a pulley on the tree and lift it up somehow. But yeah, having a machine and a winch is super nice. You just press a button and things happen. And
Right.
real sharp knives are always important. But yeah, we drive
Get
as
you
close as we
started.
can and drag if we need to, and then quarter it and put that on a tarp. You got to keep everything clean, and then toss it in the wheeler.
Man, I love it. Yeah, I've been I've been really looking because I had a buddy who has spinal bifida, and he went with two friends, and they did an outfitted flight out to the Brooks Range, and they camped out, and he shot a migrating caribou that came through. Um,
Yeah, I saw your podcast on that. It was and I don't know which outfitter he got, but it might have been a buddy of mine. I know he said he's taking out a couple disabled people, but they have to hike that. They're humping that person a ways because usually there's not animals right by the airstrip. Someone's got to help you get away from the airstrip. Uh,
it's right on the back. Some of those
uh,
guides though, they get to throw my big old butt on the back.
yeah, and I'm over 250 pounds, so you're not packing me very easy.
No, no, I'll roll you down the hill. No, but yeah, he did it, and once he did it, I was like, man, if he could do it, I like putting myself in precarious situations just to figure out logistically how we could overcome it, and and do stuff like that. Uh, but
And
go ahead.
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Um, no, I really want, man. I'm 37. Before I turned 40, I got the green light for my girlfriend to go up in Alaska to go moose hunt. And I'm going up. I'm gonna do I don't know if it's gonna be outfitted. I keep telling Kirka, and he's like, "Oh, just wait, man. I'm getting a plane. I'll fly you out and I'll drop you off. No matter, I'll drop you off on the top of the hill, come back a couple days and pick you up." I'm like, "All right, but we'll see how that works." Couple heads, but it's just like every I would say probably almost everybody in the lower 48. It's a dream hunt. And I wanna get it done before because it's already hard enough for me being in the wheelchair, and with my previous injuries, I just don't want to get old and be on my deathbed and be like, dude, I should have, could have,
Yeah.
would have.
Like I said, moose, I figured it out. And I'm hoping to take Andrew out this fall to go get a big moose. I found a new area that I can get to, and it had a lot of big moose. We went and scouted it the week after season. So if they're there then, they're going to be there during season next year, or this coming season. But yeah, it's challenging because moose are a wetland animal.
Right?
They are adapted to live in swamps and rivers and eat wet
Swamp donkeys,
vegetation. They call them swamp donkeys for a reason. So
swamp donks.
I have unfortunately shot one where it died in knee deep water. I know people that have shot them where they died even deeper and had to somehow get them out of the water. In a wheelchair, knee deep water and muck doesn't work at all.
No, at all.
So even ankle deep water and muck doesn't work at all because it could be 6 feet deep. You might be standing on it for a little while, but it's eventually going to sink in on you. So that's where the six wheeler comes in and the crane to help lift it up and drag it out, and power winches and all that. But it's challenging. I did have a time. This is like about 30 years ago before I got hurt. We were flying out to go caribou hunting, and we woke up the next morning with about 100 caribou on the runway, and we were camped there. So we shot our two caribou from the tent. Actually, we unzipped the tent, opened up our rifles, put ammo in, and shot them from the tent.
Dear Lord
But
Jesus, all I ask is just a little caribou right from the plane.
yeah, and a friend of mine's dad lived in he was a pilot for the National Park Service, and they lived inside of one of the national parks up here, and he shot a moose with his bow. I mean, because it was too close to his airplane, he had a rifle also, and it was like eating willows on the edge of the runway. His ass was in the runway.
Ugh,
So that was pretty close, but that's not gonna happen very easy. And in a wheelchair,
yeah,
I can't go any farther than the runway, pretty much.
right. Yeah, that's yeah, being in the chair, it's either like, especially up there in those wheelers are no joke. And you either shoot it and have somebody go get it for you, or you're basically, you know,
I will
SOL.
say and I'm a big, strong guy. I'm 6'5". I can lift a lot of things. Don't have lower back muscles, so I can't really pick it up, but I can fall over on my belly and pick it up a lot of weight. But a moose is big. It's even for normal people, it's not an easy one-man operation. It's not even a
Yeah.
two-man operation. Most people bring 3 to 4 people to get a moose.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Yeah. My dream is the moose is a dream hunt, but I also want, a caribou. But I got, I know it could be done. Like one with like, everyone from the lower 48, we're going up to Alaska. They want something with, a good representation of the species. Um, but yeah, like I see some of these caribou are just majestic looking, like something the mountain caribou. I understand like I'm not going to be able to do that because of the wheelchair and whatnot, but do you think a mountain caribou would be able to be harvestable from a wheelchair? You're the expert in this field, so I'm
uh,
gonna run it by you.
I don't know that we actually have mountain caribou in Alaska. They have some over near the Canadian border, but not like most of what we have are just the general Rangifer tarandus. I guess the tundra caribou is what it is.
Gotcha.
But some of those get pretty big. I've got 25 caribou. I don't have a trophy, but I've got a couple nice ones. I've got 17 moose now and nothing ever bigger than a spike or a fork. So I'm persistent, but I've gotten a couple nice moose for other people, but never had a chance at a big one of my own. And that
Mm,
17 moose in 30 years of hunting is that's pretty good. I mean, a lot of
heck
people
yeah.
that's a lot of meat in the freezer. But this place we're going this next year, this fall, is the first place I found that I can get to since I'm in a wheelchair that actually has nice moose that not a lot of other people go to. It's going to be a difficult drive to get in there, but it's doable. So
I can't wait. If you'd be cool with it, I'd love to do another podcast after that hunt. And if you can just we could chat about your hunt. That'd be sweet.
yeah, I've got a friend that I take out with cerebral palsy, and she'd never. We grew up together, but she'd never been able to go hunting just because she has issues. And so we got my 6x6 and we took her out, got her first caribou ever, and then a couple of years later we got her first moose ever. And I got a moose too. So one of my pictures, I think I had two moose and two caribou. That's a lot of meat hanging there.
That is a lot of meat.
And that we had four of us, well, four families helping. There were five of us at the camp, so that meat went a long ways. But yeah, generally the moose seasons are in September and the caribou seasons are in July and August. So combo moose deer.
July.
If you're up north where your
Oh,
buddy went flying, that they start in July up there because it's snowing by August and September.
wow,
So
July.
the seasons aren't always overlapping, but most, if you go a little farther south, the seasons overlap a little bit. And then some places you can have a caribou or a moose permit. Like the 40-mile herd, where we do is we go get our caribou, and then we have to go into the local town, and where we are is a long ways from the local town. Then you have to go in and actually physically turn in your caribou permit, and then they will physically give you a moose tag because you can't have them both at the same time because they don't want people shooting anything and everything.
Right, just out there going gung ho.
And there's a lot of poaching up here, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, and I've never been in the financial situation to hire a guide or an outfitter or anything like that. I
Yeah.
mean, I know a lot of people do up here, but uh, I'll just say I don't make a lot of money, and being in a wheelchair is expensive, as you know. So I,
Yeah,
uh, I
medical and all
I trade a lot of things for goods and services, and that lets me live a pretty good life without spending a lot of money. But guides and outfitters use cash, so
that.
but
Right.
yeah, so with your odds are generally better if you can hire a guide because they can put you in an area where you can. I don't know for sure about the wheelchair side of things for moose, but that's their job is to find places that have caribou and moose, and they have airplanes. I also don't have an airplane, so
Yeah, I've just from what I've been thinking is obviously spot and stalking is out of the question. So I just from like the research I've done and like thinking logically, it's either powerboat, jet boat, or flying into a lake and then just, driving the shores and trying to call a bull in. I
yeah,
don't I don't see how
there's a
else you could do it.
bunch of rivers where you can drive jet boats up, and you'll see them in the swamp on the edge of the river. I've seen them a lot when not during hunting season. So I'm sure that they're during hunting season. Just I've never had the opportunity to do it that way, but I've seen them a lot during hunting season on other people's videos and pictures. Um, Getting a legal one is also it's got to be 50 inches, and there's a lot of moose in between that size. So it's either a spike or a fork, or up to 50 inches or bigger. So it's hard to guess. So they have point numbers. You have to count either three or four brow tines.
Right.
So that makes it pretty definitive. If you have to guess 50 inches, I think in one of the areas they had 80% illegal moose were harvested. So they've now made it that you have to like a field station. You have to check your moose in and tag it
Oh yeah.
because they've had so many illegal moose killed because there aren't any 4-point moose in this area. The genetics are gone. So the only way you can get it is to guess that it might be 50. So, and guessing 50 inches is challenging. Even if you got a really good scope and good hash marks on the scope, that's pretty tough to guess.
Yeah, it would be. be quite the quite I I obviously I'm not around moose enough to have that kind of skill set, so it would definitely be up to somebody else, and you just hope that person knows what they're doing.
Yeah, so the area I'm going to had a whole bunch of moose that had the right number of points. So the first time I've seen that many moose in any area that, and we may not see them at all this year, but at least they were
Yeah,
there
you
last
never
year,
know.
and
Yeah,
that's better than I've ever done. So.
I'm super interested in hearing how this hunt goes for you. Um,
And I'm a meat hunter, so I've always shot the first brown thing.
right.
So I've one time seen a bigger moose after I shot my moose, but generally I've not seen a lot of big moose around.
Yeah, I have a saying or a saying that I say to myself, you take what the mountain gives you. Being in a chair, being with a disability, it's already hard as it is. If I like if let's say I'm on a 5 day hunt, I'll usually go the morning of day three, and if I don't see anything after that, then it's take whatever the mountain gives you. But definitely eating some tag soup. But what is uh what is your dream scenario? So I mean, it's hard for me to ask you because you're living the life, you're living the life that I dream about. Like what would be your overall like dream hunt?
Well,
Ira Edwards dream hunt.
I got a sheep tag last year and didn't see anything legal, but there's a spot near this mountain where there's a mineral lake right at the bottom, and every year for most of my life I've seen legal sheep during hunting season at the bottom of the mountain. So went up there in glass. We saw over 100 sheep this year, but nothing legal came close enough. The closest one I saw that might have been legal was about 2 miles away. And I have a gun that can shoot a really long ways, and I've hit shots on 12-inch steel at over a mile. But I'm not going to shoot an animal that far away, and definitely not 2 months.
No. Yeah, I have a 600 yard limit on that I'm comfortable shooting with my rifle. Like if there's I went on I went on an elk hunt and it was a 7 millimeter mag, and I was clanking steel at 900 yards, 1,000 yards. But I still wouldn't feel comfortable enough taking a shot on an animal like that because shooting a target is completely different than shooting a live animal, with your heartbeat racing and all that stuff.
And I have a bit of an advantage is that I used to race biathlon, which is cross country skiing and shooting. And you're shooting at a 4 centimeter target at 50 meters with open sights, which is less than 2 inches. Uh, it's like 1 3/4 inches. And I learned how to do that real consistently. And then I have a lot of tactical training to learn how to shoot accurately under high stress situations. And then I'm an NRA instructor, so I teach how to shoot under high stress situations. So there's a lot of ways you can limit your movements if you're under a lot of stress. That's the trick because you can never be totally still, but it's to limit and confine your movements to different ways. And of course, I've done a lot of practice. But I mean, I my guns have up here for a moose. You figure you need 1,000 foot-pounds, and I'm good at over 1,000 yards with two of my rifles. The other ones can't quite do that. So yeah, I am if the conditions are perfect, I would shoot that far, but I've never had to try that out. The moose I got last, not this year's moose, was 675 yards horizontal distance, but it was up a mountain, so we figured it's about 790 yards away, and it dropped it with a single shot. So I it had plenty of kill power. So
Yeah, it sounds like you have way more practice than I ever got. Are you self loading your ammo or are you buying?
I do. I have a couple of factory rounds that work pretty good if I need to have something in a pinch, but I'm a member at a range, and I we don't have a long distance range there, but I have a different place I go to shoot long range. But
Uh-huh.
I know at 250 yards, if I shoot something there, it's going to be at on target at 600 yards, and I have an app to get me beyond 600 yards. But I sent you a picture of the gun I built last. It's a 6.5 PRC, and my 250 yard zero is zero point 0.7 inches for a three shot group. So it's pretty accurate.
Yeah,
That's from a
I'm looking at it
tripod.
right now. It's a
That's from a
beautiful,
tripod. So tripods are not as stable as a bench rest, but I can't shoot from a bench. I shoot from a tripod.
right. That's a beautiful rifle.
Uh, yeah, and I build custom firearms for people, and I think part of my business plan when I start doing this for money is going to be I'll build you a gun, I'll build you a gun and build you ammo, or I'll build you a gun and build you ammo and teach you how to shoot it. So you have three different price points.
Well, when you get that FFL, I'd be really, really interested in getting something with some serious knockdown power and then taking you up on all three of those.
Yeah, no,
I would love to do
my
that.
current project is a 300 PRC. I was going to go for a 300 Lapua Magnum, which is really heavy duty, but just to get the
Yeah,
parts to shoot it on a regular basis would have been too expensive in Alaska. Everything costs more to get here.
right.
And the 300 PRC was picked by the military to be their sniper rifle now instead of the 300 Winchester. So there's a lot of parts available for it, and I can get brass. I can get, and there's a lot of 308 bullets out there. But
Hmm.
yeah, I'll be able to make that reach out and touch someone.
Man, this next July when I get out there, I'm gonna have to. I would love to meet up for a day. I mean, if anything, just grab lunch and chat. But I would love to, sling some lead, maybe get a lesson or
Yeah, we
something,
could.
man. I would love to. That's what
Andrew's cabin is less than a mile from my house, so I'm sure we could pick you up and take you out to the range.
that'd be amazing. Cool, bud. We're over an hour. I think this is the longest podcast I've
Uh-oh.
done so far. But man, you're probably the most entertaining person I've talked to. Just how you're living the life that I want to live, man. I love it. And I can geek out. I can keep going for a while, but statistically people tend to check out around the hour mark. Unless you're like
Most of the
Joe
podcasts
Rogan.
I've done are 3 hours, so this is pretty short. So.
Really? Really? Okay. Well, all right then. I guess I'm wrong.
But no, Alaska's super fun. It's definitely not as productive as it is like for deer hunting or something that even bird hunting is not as productive. Like you guys can get, you're on the flyway, so when you guys get ducks come through some of those fields in Central California, Southern California, they're coming in by the thousands.
Thousands.
We're lucky to get like 10, and you might get
Uh,
a shot at one. So I mean, I've limited out in ducks plenty of times, but it's not like it is down in the States or in the Midwest where they're coming by in the tens of thousands.
yeah, I've never gone fowl hunting at all or shot any kind of winged critter. So,
Or our deer, like I said, are also not as productive. Like I said, we're lucky to get a moose every few hundred acres, and that's considered high density population.
right.
Whereas if you got one deer every 500 acres, something's wrong down there.
Yeah, yeah, it's very wrong. So Ira, you guys, if you want to check Ira out, super interesting guy, super cool guy. On Instagram, he goes by Rooster Skier, ROOSTER, Rooster Skier, like a rooster, like a brrrt, and a skier. There, you sent me a really cool video that PBS did on you. How can people find that? What can they type in to find that
Uh,
on YouTube?
Yeah, there's been a couple of good videos over the years, but this one was pretty recent. I do a lot of advocacy work in the disabled community and a lot of fundraising for various causes. But this one talks about my life and recovery, getting back to skiing and helping other people. It is published by Alaska Public Media, and it's all over it was all over the country last year on PBS, but it's Indie Alaska, so INDIE Alaska Alaska, and then just type Indie Alaska and then Ira Edwards, and it pops up. It the lady that put it together won a bunch of press awards for it. So it's pretty well done. I don't always like being on film all the time. I've done it way too many times, and I'm always chewing gum or doing something dumb while I'm on film. But I've learned how not to do that. But yeah, she did a really good job.
Yeah, you can see your beard's nice and trimmed and very, very square. Yeah. I love it. All right, bud. Well, at the end of every podcast, I want everybody to know that, I'm only able to do what I can do, and I'm a God-fearing guy. I give glory to God in all that I do. So at the end of every podcast, I like to lift up a prayer. So if
For
you guys
sure.
have ears to hear and eyes to see, if you wouldn't mind, just bowing your head real quick while I pray, I would really appreciate it. I'm just gonna do a quick one. Father God, Lord, thank you so much for the blessings that you bestowed upon us, Lord. Thank you for blessing me with Ira today, and just an incredibly interesting guy, Lord. Incredibly, incredibly good, humble dude, Lord, that you've created. And I just thank you for all the things that he's been able to do post injury, all the advocacy work and the help that he's brought other people in injuries, Lord. I pray that you would bless him, Lord. Bless all his initiatives and his goals, Lord, that he seeks. Let them come to fruition, God. And I pray that you would bless this podcast and let your name be glorified. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Yep, he kept me around for a reason. I'm still figuring all the parts out, but
Yeah, yeah. Like I like a saying, God will move mountains, but you got to bring your shovel.
yeah, I've done a lot of shoveling.
Yeah, up in Alaska, you've been shoveling plenty of snow, plenty of this, plenty of that. But great conversation. I can't wait to, contact you in the future, maybe a year from now, and see what you've gotten and see how this moose hunt goes. But thanks for coming on the T8 Outdoors podcast, bud.
Yeah, for sure. Talk to you next time.
Hey, see ya.